Ooh, you guys, we got a very early probe coming out of Stun. I'll talk about that in a second. Let's get these introductions out of the way. This is the game number 3 in the semifinals. Winner of this goes on to fight against Puck in the grand finals of this $100 Love Your Girlfriend Man Invitational Challenge. Spawning in the top right corner of the map from Love Your Girlfriend and looking to dictate the pace of this game, it's going to be Stun. Stun! His opponent in the lower left, going to be from Core Gaming. He's North American. He is very proud. It's going to be Jonsnow. And this is going to be an in-base proxy. Now, this is probably going to be a 2-gate, guys. Or 2-gate. Ace-gate? At any rate, Jonsnow will scout this with the Overlord, pathing to the natural. Now, a big part of why you don't do this here is because the Overlord wants to go to the natural to make sure that no cannons come down. But with this being revealed, we may see Jonsnow pull drones on top of this. It's uncommon, but it's a way to deal with this. Typically, though, you want to get a 13 pool if you can, 15 if necessary. But yeah, 13 pool going to come down. You get a spine crawler down in your mineral line. You keep it alive while Zerglings come out. Bob's your uncle. You've held against Zealots, and your opponent's going to have not a lot of drip probes behind this because they have to cut workers to go for something like this. Now, the spacing that Stun's taking here is actually worth talking about. Normally, you see them pump the gateways next to the pylon. This keeps anything from coming to the pylon to target it down. This actually really exposes it. I don't like this. Like, the gateway should be here and here, and it completely makes sure that pylon's 100% safe. But unfortunately, again, Jonsnow knew this was coming. He knows it's coming. He's preparing for it right now. He's gonna have to dance with the drones a little bit while he gets the spine crawler down. We'll see who's better at cheese is basically what this game's gonna boil down to. Now, of course, you would love to go for a counterattack, and Stun in prediction of this is probably gonna try and get a forge down back at home, I would imagine. Sometimes you go for a Cybercore behind this, but not when you go for 2 gates early on like this. So 4 Lings on the way out. Typically wait for 3 Zealots before you move in, even if you've been scouted. But I think because he was scouted, it's kind of like, alright, let's just go. I'll pull the drones back for the time being. I like this move a lot, actually. If he gets a surround off on this, he can do a bit of damage. Of course, drones can mineral walk away. Does get that probe. Not that that's the biggest deal in the world, but Zealot's trying to find a good place to engage this. Unfortunately, will not, and he's going to lose this first Zealot before he really gets much done. Hell, a Zergling didn't even die for that. Oh, actually, 1 Zergling did die. I take that back. No, wait. 4 Zerglings still standing. 5 Zerglings. Never mind. I'm completely crazy right now. Anyways, with a spine crawler, Zerglings, and the queen out, 2 spine crawlers even, Jonsnow has successfully held this. Now all the Lings need to do is get across the map, kill some probes, and he's locked this game down. Stun decided to go for some cheese. I feel like he did the cheese wrong. Like, if the gateways were up here, or if the gateways were up here, or something strange, like, then this would never have gotten scouted, and maybe Jonsnow decided to play greedy. Like, you never know. Jonsnow may very well have been preparing to do a 15 hatch on this map, but unfortunately wasn't given the opportunity to find out. Lings are going to be... So here's the thing, these Lings should be able to be probe microed against. With 14 workers versus 6 Lings, Stun is going to lose about half of his probes for sure, but he can hold on to this if he stacks up correctly. But stacking up is a lot easier said than done by the looks of it. Doesn't quite mineral walk through, so he's actually taking a terrible engagement on these Lings. Now he's trying to run away to these Zealots to try and have them protect the probes, but Jonsnow's just got so many Lings here. He doesn't have metabolic boost, but he's still faster than the Zealots, so he can run in, pick off like a probe, and go back to the Zealots, run away from them. But probes have been pulled, and Jonsnow is actually going to be deflected. He should have gotten a lot more damage down here, in all honesty, but back at home, one of the gateways has fallen. Unfortunately, Jonsnow doesn't know that he can just take his natural, so he's instead investing in a lot more Lings. This isn't bad if he comes across the map, but the longer he gives Stun time for, the better chance Stun has that Mothership Core out, the better chance Stun gets a cannon down, or his wall off, or secures his own natural. So while this might be a failed 2-gate, guys, I want to point out, there's a game not too long ago I cast in the Go for StarCraft Cup with two names that you may recognize a little bit better, Zazu and Stardust, where Stardust went for a 2-gate. It was PvZ, same scenario, failed absolutely miserably, got nothing done, but still was able to win that game. Not because of the power of Protoss, but because of the intelligent decisions he made to follow this up, which we see Stun kind of mimicking here. I mean, he didn't panic. He's getting gateways down at home. He's already got the Mothership Core out, so somewhat limited on their damage. And with the Zealots in hold position at the ramp... Oh no, they're in a bad hold position. Jonsnow capitalizes on this. Okay, take that back. What Stun should have been able to do with Zealots spread out on the ramp just enough, you create a full wall off and Lings can't break out of the base. With 2 more Zealots behind it, you double down on that wall and the Mothership Core adds a ton of damage. Now, unrelated and side note, this Mothership Core looks really cool with this bright pink. This, of course, is the added glow and the benefit of the team colors being on. But at any rate, Jonsnow's coming across the map with so many damn lings. And while there's going to be an overcharge, will that even be enough is going to be the big question. A full wall off might go down. Stun doesn't have the minerals for it, actually, so I take that back. Might try and choke off at the ramp. Might be his best bet to have these two zealots on hold position once again. Yeah, between these two pylons goes for that. Really did not need the pylons here for this, but of course when you put down these two pylons, it means you can get that third one behind it if necessary. But this is kind of scary for Jonsnow now. He's not really able to do the damage he wants to. All these lings he's invested into are somewhat useless. Each of these could have been a drone type thing to snowball his lead economically, but spreading creep right now with his second queen, going to try and move it so the spine crawlers can move down here and secure his natural base. Oh, Stargate on the way could be a bit scary. Okay, so if he was on 2 bases, I would say Stun does Void Rays and he wins this game outright. But because he's on 1, he can't afford the production for doing that, much less 2 Stargates worth. So might just be Phoenixes again. Hell, an Oracle wouldn't even be bad in this scenario in all honesty. But unfortunately, Stun is not going to do anything here that's really going to end the game off of 1 base. Not with a Stargate at least. Now, if this was like 2 bases and he had his natural mining, he had like a cannon wall up here and everything, then this Stargate is a lot more deadly because of what it can produce. So its production is going to be capable of. But as we see, an Oracle is going to be coming out. So this will be good at either fending off the lings or going to harass Jonsnow. It's worth noting, if you guys do not know, the Oracle is capable of killing a queen. Like one-on-one, the Oracle kills the queen and has enough energy to kill a couple drones afterwards. So Jonsnow, I don't know, did he scout that? Oh, he did. He actually scouted it. And if you guys look, of course, you can tell what's being built in the Stargates. You can tell it's an Oracle very easily if you look. So Jonsnow knows this is coming and immediately has Spore Crawlers down at home to defend against this. That faster layer on the way may have initially been for Mutalisks, as he did take all of his gases, but with the Stargates, I don't know if he'll necessarily still invest into it. If he does, then he knows Phoenixes are going to be able to counter the Mutalisks, and that his damage will be somewhat limited. So with the Hydralisk Den coming up here, off of this layer, I'm liking this a lot more. Gee, where's that being built? Oh, there we go, hiding down there. But yeah, Roach Hydra again might look like it could just bully down his opponents. Stun, of course, only just now taking his natural, still hasn't even really secured it. Lots of lings are here, but not enough to really cause any true harm, I guess. I mean, if he had like twice the amount of lings, then maybe he goes for a full surround on the Nexus and actually kills it. And in that case, Stun gets screwed. But because Stun holds on to his natural base, because he's still got this Nexus on the way, he could get himself back into this game. Now, it's worth noting that Stun is behind, but a lot of this was due to the actions of like trying to open up with cheese. Now he's slowly macroing out of it. He's getting to a position where he's going to be a little bit more comfortable to play in the mid game when he's actually got some physical units available to him on the map. But as I said before, and I'll say it again, Hydralisks are not the best anti-gate, or sorry, Hydras are so good against gateway units unless there's a lot of sentries involved. And there's a couple sentries out, but there's not going to be nearly enough to push this back. Oracle's still just kind of poking away here at the creep tumors. I kind of like that he's picking these off. It's not a lot, but it takes away a bit of map control from Jonsnow, and when you're behind, every little thing actually really, really counts. Now, Stun's option to go for the Warp Prism is a little bit cute. Oh no, he's going to lose both of these Oracles though. Oh god. That was a lot of power in his army. Oracles do bonus damage versus light Hydralisks or light units. Having the Hydralisks focus on, say, the Zealots, get trapped by their sentries, and using the Oracles to shred them was so much damage, and honest to god, necessary damage for what he was going to need to hold this off. But Jonsnow knocking at the doorstep. Anyone home? It's me, a bunch of Hydralisks. Alright, he's going to be able to pick off a couple things here for free. The Forge might go down. Actually, he could focus down the Forge if he really wants to. Sentries are trying to come forward, a little bit tentative, of course, because these are such precious units he cannot afford to lose. But microing back even the low units, Jonsnow ensures that he's just not taking any damage from that overcharge. Wall's being replaced immediately, but it's going to go down as well. There's a second overcharge available, but unfortunately, it's not the overcharge that he really needs so much as it really is the time warp. Oh, big shout out to Zephyrin, by the way. Zephyrin, of course, is a person who's been hanging out in chat for a really long time, and I always confuse their name for Zeph's name. But Zephyrin, my friend, thank you for your subscription. Thank you for supporting BaseTradeTV. Don't forget to ace Kate on your way out. With 2 doorways open now, though, 2 wide engagement areas, there's going to be enough force fields to completely seal this off like once. following this up, not going to happen. Especially if he scores a couple kills on these sentries with those lings. He's tearing down the cannons with the Hydros, and the overcharge did go off, which means there's no time warp for this available. I just don't think Stun's going to be able to... Holding this is going to be so difficult, but Jonsnow backs up. Spine Callers are at home. Warp Prism counterattack is a non-option right now. Still splitting up and scared. He doesn't really know that Stun has nothing behind this. If Jonsnow had an Overseer, an Overlord, if he had something in this base swooping in, he would know that he could just move in and attack and try to win. But due to the fact that the Overcharge is still running, he doesn't want to give away units, so he's trying to stay back for the time being. The 7 Mutalisks reinforcing behind this is actually quite huge, because what we see is a production of Colossus, an investment in that Robotech, getting the Thermal Lance on the way, and no Phoenixes available, which means these Mutalisks are going to initially have nothing to stop them but, like, what, 2 Stalkers and 4 Sentries? That's not going to happen anytime soon. So, ideally for Jonsnow, of course, what he's going to do is go to the main, pick off probes. When the army responds, he attacks them in the natural. Pretty common tactics. The one thing Stun is going for, though, he does have the Warp Prism approaching the main base of Jonsnow down here, so might be able to cause a little bit of a reaction, but unfortunately, you know what? He needs, like, every gateway producing units at home to defend. Stalkers coming in, and yeah, that Warp Prism is not going to get anything done anytime soon. The low Stalker count really can't contend with these Mutalisks either, and this is looking worse and worse for Stun. Pushing back the natural once again with a couple good force fields. But still no answer for these Mutalisks. We don't even see a Phoenix being made, just Stalkers. And these Stalkers do not have Blink, guys. They don't even have weapon upgrades. There's literally nothing that Stun has that's going to easily deal with these Mutalisks. And in a head-on engagement, these just need to focus fire down the Colossus. The one single Colossus. And Jonsnow just moves in with like an A-click and wins. Alright, well, gonna try to move in here, and yep, he will focus down the Colossus. A couple Lings even gonna get on top of this too, but with the Colossus falling, there will be absolutely no answer to the Hydralisks, and this is looking pretty grim here for Stun. Jonsnow looking like he's gonna go on to the finals today. Good game, well played is called.